It's going as well as one can expect. Teaching children, maskless children, sea of maskless children in the South. Yeah.
I don't see a lot of toxicity in chess. I just put us live, by the way. So hey, welcome everyone. I figured it's just a good topic to have on stream. In general, I think most chess players have a very high degree of like respect for one another, because like like if someone has reached a certain chess level, like they must have put in a lot of hard work, and you kind of speak the same language in terms of chess. So it's like, yeah, usually the default is to respect other players. But at lower levels of chess, I definitely see all the typical things, like players who kind of like berate lower rated players, even though they themselves are not that high rated, depending on like who you compare them to. I think that's very common. And yeah, just people being, well, just people on the internet being toxic in general.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, yeah. The internet does an interesting thing because I think you maybe get a small window on how people behave whenever it feels like there's no consequences. It's just like, oh, we're miles and miles apart. You can't get at me now. Now I'm going to talk wild amounts of smack. It's sort of like those little mean little dogs that'll bark at you and think they're all hot stuff. Their ego is bigger than they really are. And then the moment you start to walk towards them, then they just like lose their lose their crap and realize, oh, you're way bigger than me. So I think there's something to be said for uh, you know what I'll say online chess, that this hyperconnectivity is sort of done to people psychologically, and how they approach things like competitive chess or anything competitive really.
Yeah, the anonymity is a weird one. Definitely um, drives people to go crazy sometimes. Well, welcome everyone. This is the we're going to be doing the team match today between Team Europe and Team North America. So if you're watching, you can still join by joining one of the chess.com clubs. I'm going to link it in the chat, and joining one of the clubs, and then you can join the match. Still 15 minutes to go before we officially start, so some time to get in. It's going to be 2 games, 15 plus 5, so you'll play 2 games against the same opponent. 1 game with white, 1 game with black. And yeah, should be a good match. Team Europe is one of our bigger teams, so big that we just have to throw everyone in against them. So Team US, Team Canada, Team Latin America, everyone's welcome to join Team North America for this
Yeah,
match. But hopefully we get some new Europeans as well to play. So far,
that's kind of
a few
fitting for the
boards.
U.S. though, right? We have all types here. The whole melting pot idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Bring,
Um,
bring us, yeah. Sorry, I was starting to make myself laugh, so it's a bad joke.
yeah, thanks, Pravid, for joining me, by the way. Good to have you
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. I mean, all I was gonna do is study some of Shanklin's course, which I kind of dragged my feet on this morning a little bit. Got way too distracted,
Mm,
so I'll have to make it for it, buckle down harder afterwards.
that's cool. I've just been reading his book here every morning and really
Yeah,
enjoying it.
yeah. It's like something really clicked the past, I want to say 2 weeks maybe, where I think I can read the chess notation before, because before it just looked like a foreign language and my eyes would go across. But now I'm gonna, oh, cx d5 and it just really clicks in my head. So I think I'm more able to look at the books that are like on my shelf right now and kind of get a grasp of it.
Oh,
Uh, so
nice.
so which book was that? Small Steps to Chess Improvement or something like that, or
Yeah, that's right. His first book. Um, yeah, Small Steps.
yeah,
Uh, Very enjoyable. Yeah.
I think he did it really well. I also have his video. He talks way too fast in his videos, uh, but I would say I like it a lot more than some of Wesley So's courses that I've gone through. There's just something about the way Shanklin sort of explains things
Hmm.
that I like, that connects with me up here.
So you're comparing Shanklin's like D4 repertoire with Wesley's E4 repertoire?
Well, the D4, the classical Sicilian, the semi-Slav, stuff like that. I like just the. I don't know. There's just something about that connects with me. It's
Yeah.
but maybe that's like a music artist finding their instrument, and it just sort of jives with them. So Wesley could be like a guitar, classical guitar, and Shanklin could be like a cello. You know what I mean? Something that sort of connects with me up here, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to find the right teacher. For me, like some commentators are really good. Like I really enjoy Peter Lako when he does live commentary for Chess 24. I feel like his stuff is super, like the way he does commentary is just super interesting and engaging. And then others, not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I it's funny. One commentator that I think that I like, that's almost universally like, is Maurice Ashley, but I like his personality more so than his commentary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's definitely not universally liked, I'll tell you.
yeah, especially not by. I won't name names, but some call him the world number one. Yeah, I've seen a few interactions between those two. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's petting against the grain there.
Well, I think people need to understand is like um, different broadcasts kind of have different goals, and the St. Louis broadcast is always meant to reach out to a really broad audience.
Right. Yeah,
And
that makes
so they put a focus on like just making sure that the broadcast is like really exciting. And so for that, I mean, Maurice is like, I think one of the best commentators at actually making the game sound exciting, just making it sound like a straight up sport.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I agree.
yeah. And that
There,
turns off some chess players who would just prefer that the commentary is just like pure chess analysis, which I totally understand that point of view. Um, and yeah, when I watch commentary, like I definitely, like I want two strong GMs commenting on the games and just like I don't even care about the standings or anything, right? I just want people like talking about the game, analyzing lines, talking about like the opening and what they know about it. So, but of course, the St. Louis commentary is really popular for its own reasons. Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
think
kind of
people just prefer different things.
yeah. I think that makes sense. I think it depends on my mood in the moment sometimes because sometimes I look at things like I absolutely love PogChamps because of all the upsets. It's sort of like gratuitous chess entertainment. Uh, it's uh, it's thrilling in a way like a fight is because there could be a major upset. Whereas whenever you're looking at something that is more educational uh, and helps one understand that, I also appreciate that because at the end of the day, I don't really have a favorite chess player. I just like seeing the best chess played, if that makes sense. I mean, it's not going to upset me if a player blunders or whatever, and oh, this is interesting to see this stuff happen at top level as well,
Hmm.
so on and so forth. But it's interesting. Uh, so I feel like I'm sort of half and half, really. Oh, this is really fascinating, but it's also kind of like if I were to compare myself with something else that I don't know helps somebody that's way lower ranked like me understand, it's like watching I don't know somebody like Pablo Casals. He's singing, Perla Gloria or some other amazing musician like Ingwe Malmsteen play the guitar, and I just started last week. And I'm just like, I know that's amazing, and I'm looking at it, and I get that it's amazing, but I don't understand it at all. So that's also how I feel watching top level chess. So I feel like that's why I'm kind of halfway, is because I understand the gratuitous chess and it's entertaining. So I imagine you at your level can appreciate it in a much more sophisticated way than me, and that's probably why you lean to like the analytical a lot more.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I'll watch it for pure um, educational value. Yeah, as I think a lot of players do. That's why I like it the way Norway started doing it last year, where they have their broad audience stream with like David Howell and Jovanka
Oh,
Huska. And that one I think is like, yeah, just aim to reach as broad an audience as possible. And then they'll have their own like Chess 24 like insider stream where they'll have like Jan Gustafsson and Svidler or whoever, and they're like analyzing the games like at a high level. Um, which I like it that way because then it's like everyone can kind of get what they want. Because I do think it's very important to have a very broad reaching presentation. Like if tons of people are coming into the game from like Queen's Gambit and other avenues and they're
uh,
like not experienced, like they don't even know the terminology in a lot of cases, then yeah, it has to be like very, very accessible for them if we want them to stay in the game.
yeah, I like that a lot. I'm glad the 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 chess community has done a good job of welcoming in new people. I think this is probably the most serious I've ever been about chess, though I was trying to be a competitor in the past, like let's say 10 years ago in my early 20s. Um, uh, but it's nice to see that it's just like, oh, you came because a lot of people that are really into their sport or into their, whatever the case may be, they kind of snub people that come into this. And chess was just like, hey, this is great. Yeah, come on, everybody. Like I haven't seen that. Oh, you came because the Queen's Gambit. Um, and be snarky about it. I'm just like, oh, sweet. I still haven't seen the Queen's Gambit. I'm sure it's great. Um, uh, but because I loved that Fisher movie Pawn Sacrifice, and if I liked that,
Oh yeah,
then I'll probably like the Queen's Gambit.
nice. I mean, I feel like there is some snubbery. By the way, thanks Soroka and Itzel for subbing. By the way, guys, there's still a few minutes to join the match. If you would like to play the rapid match, it's going to start in 5 minutes. You got to join one of the chess.com teams first, either Team Europe or Team North America, and then you can find the match in live chess, or use the link in the chat there. And yeah, a couple minutes left if you guys want to get in. So far looking pretty balanced, so that's cool. Sometimes, I mean, I feel like I see some snubbery from people who joined chess like maybe, let's say, within the last 2 years. And then they're kind of like looking down on the Queen's Gambit people that like joined last year. So it's like, it's kind of funny. Like, okay, you joined like you're still a baby yourself. What are you?
Yeah, I know, right? I think Queen's Gambit may indirectly be responsible for my return to chess because I started playing chess back in January. Though I'll go 6 months on and 6 months off, because a friend of mine that lives near lives overseas in Japan, he started playing chess just because his friend, I think, got into Queen's Gambit, saw that, and he was just like, "Oh, you should play chess. I need somebody to play with." And then it had sort of a rippling effect, since he and I are good buddies, and said, "Hey, you should play." He said, "Do you play chess?" And I said, "Well, I used to play a lot." He said, "Well, you should get back at it." And it helped me kick an awful World of Warcraft habit, because talk about toxic, holy cow. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I can't hate on Queen's Gambit, but I also used to kind of be one of those snobs in various games before. So I think it's just kind of a growing process, and some people unfortunately still have to grow out of it.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot of stuff for your chess lately. How do you usually spend your time?
Um, well, I've been fortunate enough. You might know him. He's an international master. He let me peek into his book on Chessable, and I work on that during the week. I don't know if I should name names, but you might know what I'm talking about.
Sure,
I work
sure.
I work on that on my breaks at work during the week, and then I try to work pretty hard on openings during the weekend. I've been digging into some of Shanklin's stuff a lot here recently, and then I work on tactics, and then try to play a couple nice long form games across the month. I had a very instructive game that I resigned on last week,
Hmm.
because I'm not a terribly fast player, so that's why things like Blitz and Rapid elude me. Uh,
Yeah.
my rating on chess.com is deceitful because it's whenever I used to be better. I had like 1700 or something like that. By the way, it's much lower now, guys. But that's how it is. I just play maybe a couple times a month, play some really long instructive games with friends, and then I just run over analysis like that. So I'm a little bit all over the place. Try to do it in manageable bites, and then try to take the weekend to do more serious long form study and get into a little bit of theory.
Cool.
That's Yeah. I don't know if that's the healthiest way to do it, but it's the way I do it, and it's helped some. can't be all bad, I suppose.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. I feel like you're doing a lot of good stuff. Yeah, guys, 30 seconds to still join the match. It's gonna be very, very tight if you want to join it now, but you do have time to join the chess.com club and then join the match within the link. If you're playing the match, please make sure to mute the stream because we'll be discussing your games. And yeah, good luck to everyone. Have fun. And
Yeah,
we'll see you on
I'm
the other
excited
side.
for these games. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
I'm excited for these games. I mean, we have some real killers in the lineup, and I think there's just something to be gained at every level of chess. Whether you're instructing somebody, I ironically for such a male-heavy game, I think I've coached exclusively women
Mm.
in chess. Like my friend Erin, she's a streamer here on Twitch. She's a art streamer. I've coached her some in chess, and then my nieces. Me and my brother played Hand and Brain with my nieces, and
Nice.
so it was fun. It was complete chaos, which is what we were hoping for, because they didn't really know how to play chess. So it was a lot of fun. And then we ruled it a draw, sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge draws. So one kid didn't feel bad versus the other.
Fun.
But
By the way, how did you come or to become a David Pruitt stan? How did that happen?
it just seemed like a fun idea. I saw the name, like I have a very silly brain. I was just like David Pruitt, Pravid Deuce, or Pravid Deuce. I like that. Sounds funny. I have a couple accounts that are parody accounts on Twitch. This is the only one that's really stuck. And now I'm becoming eerily accustomed to being called Pravid.
Yeah, it's a good name.
I feel like I would respond to it. This is the only one that's really stuck. Plus, I generally like David's disposition. I feel like he's a very likable guy. I feel like his external monologue is a little bit of my internal monologue, because he seems to have I don't know, inexactitude to the way he speaks and talks.
Yeah.
Where I try to convey it in a little bit more of a flowery way, and David's just like, cut to the chase, cut out the fat sort of personality, and I appreciate that about him.
I appreciate that as well. So you started off, I guess you discovered the dojo through his streams.
I discovered it through you, actually. Your YouTube channel on book recommendations and stuff. Whenever I was just trying to get fresh into it, I found to be thorough and helpful. And then I found the dojo through that. And then I started watching you guys streams. I can't remember back when. It had to be earlier this year, probably around February.
Cool.
And then I was just like, I like this guy. This seems like a fun name. This might be good for a couple chuckles in the dojo. And then I'm here with you guys.
Yeah, it's stuck. Now people think you're David's brother.
Yeah, well, you know what? Poor David, because he doesn't need a brother like me. And my brothers could attest to that. Chess has had a weird presence in my life the past few months. My brother just married a lady from Kazakhstan who was some sort of, I think she was some sort of junior chess champion or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no idea. He totally got hustled by his wife. Whenever she was like, "Oh, would you like to play chess or something?" And she crushed him. It was great. I didn't get to see the game, but I'm hoping to get to play her around Thanksgiving, which I'm sure I'll mercilessly get crushed. But I at least want to put up a better fight than my brother, so I can rub it in her face or rub it in his face.
Hopefully, yeah. But yeah, those Soviets they're pretty tough.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like you come out the womb, play chess.
Right. Exactly.
Uh,
So do you have the games on your end for the match?
I do, I do.
Well,
Luckily, we got all that hammered away, so we don't have to go through sort of the. I had a suboptimal setup at one point, but now we're good. Um,
nice, nice.
uh, did you know that we have? Let's see. Yeah, we. So on my end, there's a Chess Dojo Team USA, but then over here in it says Chess Dojo Team North America. So I guess that's you're just limiting Canada and the rest as well all into that bunch, so we can steal some Canadians for change.
Yeah, exactly. So this is Team US, Team Canada. Actually, it's open to anyone who wanted to join, but also Team Latin America and etc.
We welcome all expats.
Yeah, exactly.
So who do you
Um,
want to take a look at first?
well, we have a bunch of games. I just started with the top board. So we have Tal's Tactician um, on the Europe side, and Checkmate Before material for the US. So this was a Scotch,
Mm,
and this line with e5, queen e7, and queen e2, pretty typical stuff. And actually, the opening gets a little weird. Where Black gives this queen b4 check, and then White goes king to d1, which is actually like it's kind of a normal thing to do in this line, because White didn't really have a better way of blocking the check, and then Black loses some time with the queen. But I never quite understood these positions. The only thing I kind of understand is that if we go into the endgame, then White is often quite happy because this bishop on a6 feels very restricted, and in some middle games as well against the pawn on c4. Yeah, it's real weird, like new age computer lines, but somehow it works for White. And but yeah, I mean, looking at it just optically, it's quite strange because the king is on d1 and it feels like it's going to be bad, but the king can actually be surprisingly safe here.
yeah. I I look. White's possession here looks. At least my amateur vision. It it seems fairly open. And I think that's probably part of the issue because Black's king seems pretty safe at this point. Uh, but I feel like it's just one bad trade away or one positional snafu before it just snaps enormously in one favor.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like, might be okay for White, but as soon as the position opens up in any way, then it could get a little dangerous here for White. So he's gonna have to make sure to kind of keep things under control.
Yeah, the pawn on e5 sort of seems to be it's interestingly placed to me just looking at it with my amateur vision, and that it's sort of in an odd way it has some not horrible coordination uh, with the knight on f3, um, and that really you know I'm not sure if I was a huge fan of that trade for Black because their queen definitely seemed to be more active and less restricted. Just my basic look into it. I mean, please tell me if I'm wrong, because if you can have a bad queen, that queen, White's queen, seemed to be strictly worse to me in that position.
Well, also, like we were just talking about, like the king safety. Now it feels like White's king is totally fine. In fact, it's even placed well in the center because it can kind of help. I don't know the theory about this line, so I could be wrong as well. But to me, it looked more natural to keep the queen on the board with any move. Maybe queen b6, queen b7, just back up, and then maybe
Yeah.
castle queenside, play for d6, something like that. And I don't know. At least it feels like you can make White's life pretty uncomfortable. But in the end game, I would say White is going to be very, very happy here, and that bishop on a6 again is going to be very restricted for some time. So Black will have to figure out what to do about this one.
Yeah. uh, I think I was looking at a position that sort of mirrors this a little bit late last night. In a position like this, I think Shanklin's words were, "That bishop is not going to be good for a very long time." uh, but it's I think in a weird way that can have some positive effects for Black. It forces the development of some of the other major pieces. Like I feel like some rook activity to create some pressure along the B file would be interesting for Black in this trading situation, because then the bishop on a6 could be a real sleeper candidate that helps conclude the endgame. This is just my sort of vague ambient ideas. I don't know if there's any real credence to them.
Yeah. Oh, good. So here we see d6, and that move makes sense, just putting some pressure on the pawn. I imagine White is just going to defend this one. Bishop c3 or bishop f4, and okay, will be interesting endgame. Let's go to board 2. We have Sweetie Pawn against Door. Man, Door already won the queen somehow. So let's see. Oh, okay. All right, we'll go back from the beginning. So this is definitely a Scandi, Door's favorite. Loves this queen d8 Scandi. And I'd say White developed fine. Goes g4, g5, which is a good idea. Then Black plays knight d5. We get knight e4. In these positions, I always like actually just taking on d5, and then Black takes back somehow, and then just pushing h4, h5, g6, and yeah, I think White gets some good play there. But instead we get knight e4, and then queen h5, queen h6, rook e8, and here just misses Black's idea, plays h4, and after bishop f8, that queen got trapped. So not a great strategy. Hopefully it works out for him, but
Yeah.
not a great idea. So I bet Door is gonna take this first one. Let's go to board 3. We got a Cartier tank against Chestian 600. And this looks
Well, I got logged out somehow. That's strange.
oh, no worries.
Yeah. Okay.
So this was C3 Sicilian.
Yeah, it's not even letting me see the event, but we'll see what we can do here.
Oh yeah, you might need to join one of the teams if you haven't already.
Oh, I'm in the clubs.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Let's see if I can share the link with you. Send it in Zoom.
Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. All right, excellent. We're back up and running. I don't think it liked me having multiple tabs of chess.com. It said another login detected.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which one did you say we were looking at again?
Board 3. So Cartier tank against Chestian 600.
Okay. Nope. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting position.
Yeah, sharp one here. Like White has some attacking chances, but Black has just taken on e5, which is usually a good idea. The point is, white is probably going to take back with the pawn one day. And pawn on e5 is going to be pretty weak. So that's kind of black's trump in the position, is a slightly better structure.
Yeah, I was, huh. So what do you think about the, and maybe you already said it and I just missed it because I was kind of zoning in on the board a little bit. What do you think about the bishop on h6?
Well,
Uh,
in general, I would say it's like a good attacking piece.
yeah,
Because if black tries to trade it off with bishop f8, which I don't think is a great idea usually, sometimes it's okay, but if it happens here, then once we trade dark square bishops, white can like put the knight on e4 and then gets the d6 square and maybe the f6 square. So I think from black's point of view, you kind of just have to ignore this bishop.
yeah,
And okay, we see knight takes c3, which I think is a good trade. It forces white to take with the pawn.
yeah.
And yeah, basically it's this dynamic of white having the attacking chances, but black having just like much better structure. And it's a good stylistic question. I don't know if you have any. Do you have any preferences? Do you rather be the attacker with a weak structure or the defender, the better long-term chances?
I like being a defender. Sort of my chess philosophy is I strongly favor positional play.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to defend, and I like to, if I'm to sort of compare myself, it's kind of like the old school Soviet style of thinking is to just slowly constrict like a snake until my opponent pops. Makes a mistake that way. So I like the idea of defending and then slowly sort of surrounding my opponent and then seizing the moment there's a break in their armor.
Yeah.
So I like the defensive position. I'm not a heavy attacker. I'm I guess a little bit risk averse in that way.
Right. Well, I think it makes sense. Cartier tank, he's the opposite. He's all attack
Yeah.
all the time. So I'm sure he feels comfortable here. Or maybe not.
Oh yeah.
He's
And
thinking about how to defend.
I really like the um, I really like the way he's attacking here. Uh, Always sort of reminding, and I like the pressure that he's putting. Just did with the move with Bishop B5, putting pressure on that knight. Because if Chestian blunders here, takes the pawn on e5. I think that's really all she wrote because he just comes in with like I feel like it would be the beginning of the end because then he could put some pressure on the queen, move the queen off that diagonal by sort of putting the rook in the way for a sacrifice, and then just come in and clobber the king because of how well positioned the bishop is. At least that would be my idea, just to try to pull it off the diagonal, throwing the pawn on that, throwing the pawn on d7, try to sort of get that idea of attraction, get him to take the rook, and then sort of slam in there with the queen, and then come across with queen e5, and then it seems sort of checkmate worthy idea, but that probably would never happen. Ideal world.
Yeah. Yeah, I like rook d8 here. I like just unpinning, defending the knight, easy move, and then
Yeah.
and now white has to worry about like bishop takes f3 followed by taking on e5. Queen takes e3. I'm not sure if black really wants to take this pawn because it's gonna be like gonna give white some time, some tempos there with the rook coming to the c file, but bishop f3, that's a very real threat, and just taking on e5. And yeah, I would say black has the more comfortable game here because if white just can't keep making threats, then yeah, these pawns are gonna slowly drop off. But okay, time is on Cartier's side here. He has the extra couple minutes. Why don't we go to Soroka versus Falk? And this one, wow, pretty crazy. What was this? Feels like, yeah, King's Indian. Okay, very cool. And okay, we have like very close position. White starts attacking on the king side. Black says, I'm supposed to be attacking on the king side. So he goes f5, takes. White says, no, I'm the one attacking here. Knight g5. And now, now e4, queen h5, knight f6 on the board. Oh, and I think Soroka probably blundered this knight f6 move. I think what he was thinking is, okay, the bishop is under attack, but let me throw in this tempo with queen h5 first. The problem is after knight f6, black gets a tempo too. Now the bishop on d3 is still hanging. And so white, I think, is just going to be losing a piece here and won't have that much to show for it.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does seem that way. Because I could see what Soroka's doing and why that had to come to f6, but yeah, it definitely, unfortunately, seems like you said, some material loss for white. But I don't know. What do you think about for an amateur like me? I have difficulty looking at games that aren't my own. So, how would you say to like assess certain positions? Like if you had to sort of speak in broad swaths, like what would help an amateur like myself assess games a little bit better?
That's a good question. Well, I think one thing that's very helpful is to try to play like guess the move, like trying to see if you can predict the next move, and then just trying to understand like why the move that gets played is played. Like what's the reasoning behind it. In terms of evaluating positions, I mean, it's really tough. It really just depends on your own experience. Like often I'll see a position, I just have no idea how to evaluate it, and it might take me like 5-10 minutes before I have any kind of estimate of what should be happening. In general, I mean, chess is just very, very complicated. I usually see players kind of rush to evaluate things, like they see one factor and then that's all that they judge. They're like, oh, white has the two bishops. They're like, oh, that pawn looks weak, so it has to be good. But it's like, you know, lots of stuff going on here. Of course, the game often just gets decided by tactics anyway. So it's like a question of how much the evaluation can even help to an extent. Well, I mean, typical factors of evaluation are, of course, we have material, we have king safety, we have piece activity, and then finally we have pawn structure. So these are kind of like the four elements that we're often using. And the tricky part is, of course, that it's usually just not very clear cut. Like, okay, if one side is getting checkmated, that's pretty clear cut. They're in a bad position. But usually what we see is more like the game we're looking at with Cartier Tank and Chestian, where it's like, you know, Cartier Tank has the more active pieces, but his pawn structure is worse, and then you have to like decide which one is kind of going to be more important, which one is going to matter more in the end. And that can be a really tough call. And then when it comes to playing chess, I would say the evaluation matters slightly less, because you still have to know how to play the imbalance. Whether you're on the attacking side, you have to know how to attack, or if you're on the defending side, you have to know how to defend and make the most out of your strategic advantage. So what can I say? It's not easy. That's all I can really. That's all I can really say.
The short answer is it's very complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, it always depends.
The long answer is it's even more complicated than we originally thought. Uh, yeah. So yeah. So Queen E2,
Right.
right? Hmm,
Now I would expect Falk to take the bishop, but he's thinking about it, which I think is a good habit to just kind of make sure that, the bishop is available. But you don't want to spend too much time because it is a rapid game. And at this point, under 5 minutes, it's basically a blitz game. So
oh
have
yeah.
to stay ahead on the clock.
I yeah. I'm faster time controls. It's kind of like Anna was talking about on the earlier stream. It's just like favors the nice long, thoughtful times, just because it's it's sort of like taking a quiz in class before the rest of the lecture. Just like, oh, there's a lot of pressure to do it right.
Yeah.
So it's baptized by fire. At least
Yeah.
in my head, other people that have a healthier disposition, they can handle it. So, I mean, kudos to these guys for really sticking it out there.
Right. No, Bliss is really tough. I feel like for me, it took years before I got comfortable with like moving pieces quickly. But
Yeah.
some players they kind of adjust to it much faster than others. But I think for the most part, it's just pretty tough. Okay, let's go to. Okay, looks like this game is finishing between Hall Gildy and Super Super Dooku. So they just started their second game. Why don't we keep going down? Let's see. Let's take a look at Lucky Fluke against Boreal Karpov.
Let's see. I am not seeing that game. Boreal Carpo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
number
here we go.
5.
There we go. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, interesting position. How would you evaluate this one?
Hmm.
If you had to use our factors that we mentioned.
Huh. Um, so looking at White's king safety, it seems relatively safe, and it seems to have the lead on the development. The rooks are all nice and connected. The position seems pretty good. There seems to be a serious lack of development for Black. Um,
Wait,
uh,
are we looking at the same board?
oh wait, no, I'm looking at Soroka. Sorry, I clicked on Lucky Fluke to view game, and then somehow it took me to Soroka.
Gotcha. All good.
Uh, so it's very strange. Yeah, okay, here we go. Hmm. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It,
we got an endgame.
we really do, because it seems like a little bit of either way. Um, yeah. Seems like whew, yeah. I really like White's chances a lot here. Piece activity is nice.
Yeah, now white is clearly better. Yeah, just won the pawn.
Yeah.
Has more active rook, better knight. It was, I think, very close to equal just a couple of moves ago. But then white's queen got into e7. Black traded on e7, and then the rook got in, and then it was very hard to defend black's pawns. And now white is up one pawn and probably winning second pawn here. Score so far 1-0 for Team Europe. They won a game. Actually, 3-1 for Team Europe. So 3-1. 2 games won by Europe on the bottom boards, and Super Doku won one for Team North America, and Dor won his game as well, his first game for Team Europe.
Okay.
That was the one with the queen trap we saw.
Yeah. I often try to unsuccessfully trap my opponent's queens.
Right.
um, though I have had luck at just positionally damaging my opponents here recently that try to do a queen that's just a smidge too early. Um, huh. Yeah. Hmm. So that rook e1 move. I mean, do you think it feels like it's just going to be a little bit of a slugfest, and it's just like who can gobble whose pawns first to try to gain a favorable end game.
Well, here white's pawns are just running. You
Yeah.
just push b4 and a5 is coming. So I would say white should win this one
Yeah.
comfortably. Let's jump back to board 1. So we have somewhat of a time scramble here. Actually, white has 5 extra minutes on the clock and an extra pawn. Knight versus bishop endgame. So it should be pretty good for white. Like, he should probably convert this. But it's never easy.
Let's see, and that's the whoa. Okay, hold on. Some I'm trying to watch the game, and it's a little all over the place. And that's the Taos Tactician game, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. For some reason, it's really only letting me look at the Sweetie pawn game.
Oh, that's weird.
I click on Taos Tactician, and I go to check before material to look at his game, and it just puts me to the front of the event. It's a little strange.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, because I'll be on their profile because for some reason I can't like click directly on the game, so I don't know if that's a permissions issue or what. Yeah. Hmm. Is there a
Not
way
sure.
to is there a way to change the featured game?
Um, it might be something in your live chess settings.
Right.
Uh,
Live chess. No, it's not auto watch on top game. That's turned off.
uh-huh.
You know
Yeah,
what?
it's weird that it keeps shifting you back.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, let's try auto watch top game and see what that does. And it still gives me Sweetie Pawn. Yeah, even after saving settings. Very strange. Very strange. Sorry for the lighting issue. I think my bulb burned out.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. So whenever I look at these tabs, there's game, Europe versus North America, play, and then tournaments.
And then if you go to the Europe versus North America tab
Yeah.
and then click on one of those games, does that open it up for you?
I'm clicking on their names.
Oh, you have to click on the there's like a little chessboard in between the two players.
Oh, that's yeah. I'm clicking that, and it's not letting me view it.
Really, like the if you click on like the top chessboard there, it doesn't open the game. Or maybe it's already opened as a tab. You have to click to the
Yeah,
game.
it worked for the DLAM Sweetie Pawn. Let's see. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm clicking on the tiny chessboard and it's just not working.
Hmm, that's weird. Let me try to link you the game here. That'll work. Ooh, b5, nice move.
So you'll never guess what happened. It's just linking me to the Sweetie Pawn game continually.
Why is this happening? It's so weird. Okay, Talos Tactician did win that game. Nicely converted end game. Well, why don't we watch Door versus Sweetie Pawn then?
Oh wait, I'm seeing this different this huh. Yeah,
Oh, Cartier Tank against Chestian.
yeah. I can see Cartier Tech and Cheston.
Okay, yeah, let's watch this one because they're in big time trouble. And looks like
Oh man,
Cartier
wow.
Tank, he kind of got the best of it. He's up a pawn, and
Yeah,
definitely his position is better here than it used to be. But it's all gonna come down to the time scramble, and I think someone's gonna blunder, and that's gonna be that.
yeah. Because I'm not very clock minded playing it, and then whenever you said the clock, I was just like, oh holy cow! Looking at it, it's Cartier has a pretty solid position here.
Yeah, so he's
Hmm.
doing right. All right, e6. That looks smart.
Yeah,
Trades queens. Yeah, I think trading queens is practical because then you can kind of just try to convert this endgame. And the 5 second increment is kind of enough to manage your time and be able to make good moves consistently.
yeah. There's something about me that I instinctively just really enjoy seeing solid king activity, and it's like, oh, he finally gets to come out and play because I think it's uh, just due to the very nature of the game and having to checkmate the king. You don't get to see him fight as much and use positionally unless you reach a solid end game like this.
Yeah. Yeah, now the king activity is really important factor too. Like if White's king was able to get in, then White would win easily. But for now, Black's king is keeping the king out, which I think is good defensive technique. And now Cardi is just trying to figure out, yeah, how to use his extra pawn. He's pushing them, which I think makes sense. Not sure about g5. Ooh, I feel like White missed a chance here. After g5, White could play h5 and then fix Black's pawn on a dark square, and then
Yeah.
knight f5 would be hard to deal with. Said we
Yeah.
have hg, and now f4.
Hmm. The h5 was my consideration there. Hmm. I'm not even sure, like, among all my weaknesses, and trust me, there are many,
Mm,
in games is one of them. That's
yeah.
why, yeah, there's a guy, you know, in game, he made this book, In Games 101. I mean, I don't know if you know him, uh, but that's helped me, learning about deflection and attraction, things like that. Uh, yeah. Because I'm at the stage where still, some remotely clever tactics could in games earlier. I really like to see the balance of play here that results in an end game like this. It's not something that I too often see, at least in my personal games.
Yeah. Well, looks like Cartier Tank is converting this one.
Yeah,
Well played there, bringing the knight to e3 and then winning that pawn. Then he should to win this one. Man, Team Europe dominating so far. 8-3 is the score.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing really well. Let's see. Any other first round? I think this is the last game of the first round. Everyone else has started their second round. So we'll just watch this one close out and then jump to some round 2 games.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. Yeah.
Ooh, stalemate trick. Love it. Beautiful. Doesn't fall for it, unfortunately, for black.
I did that to my brother once whenever I was pretty young, because I'm not like a lot of chess players. I can't handle smack talk and chess at the same time. It'll throw me off my game. Or at least I wasn't then.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was smack talking the whole time, and it was pretty great. I was just like, I wonder if I had this one little, try for this one little stalemate, and I just put this pawn out there in a way because it was just my pawn and my king, and he had me clearly outnumbered, material way advantage. It's like, I think if I do this, he'll take the bait.
Yeah.
And he certainly did. And I just looked at him and I smiled and I said, thanks for the tie. He's just like, what? And I said, well, you took my pawn and the only piece left is my king, and I'm completely surrounded. I can't move into check. He was so mad. He tried to look up the rules. I was just like, it's the most basic rule of chess. You can't move into check. Oh, he was so mad. He was at the computer looking it up. And this was ages ago when computers weren't good. It was awesome. The vengeful stalemate.
That's funny.
No.
Okay, let's check out. I was just watching this game between Fall. Let's look at Seth. Seth against Basil. Let's see what's happening here. Second game.
Which game is that? Because I don't see Liechtenstein anywhere.
That is board, I think 7.
Oh wait, yeah, I see. Aha! Hey, it's working now.
Nice,
I can see
nice.
games. It's a Christmas miracle.
So this one was Queen's Gambit decline. Black plays this early bishop g4 move, which I don't think is great because white just can kick the bishop away with f3. Bishop h5 played. Now Seth plays e4. Very aggressive to play this before castling. g5. And bishop f2 on the board. So he saves his bishop, I think because he wants to play e5 himself and win a piece. But it's going to get very sharp. If white can hold on to his pawns here in the center, he's doing very well. But that's a big if. Black might have something to say about that. Like knight d4. Yeah, very annoying move.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly annoying. Let's see. Huh. It's only letting me see their previous game where Basil won.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe you can try the second board listed in their matchup.
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Oh yeah, Kent. This is much longer than 3+2. Yeah, I agree. Wait till you start playing classical, and then this will feel fast for you. It's all relative.
Yeah. So, what do you think? And I may have not heard you because I was busy trying to get the boards to work, and they're finally working now. But yeah, black seems pretty dominant here, but then knight G3. So I think what's black? Um, yeah, I have no idea what black's best move here is.
Well, things are
Like,
about to get pretty messy here because he just took on f2. Now the
yeah.
queen is hanging on d1. I think Set's idea was to play queen takes bishop. But then black can take on d3 with check. So I don't know. I mean,
Oh, ugh.
black can win a piece here, but at the same time, black's king is going to be a little weak. Like white wants to take on h6 and go knight h5 and play for the attack. So I actually think it's not that bad for Seth. I think he has some chances, but we'll see. I don't know if he intended to sacrifice a piece like this.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it seems that I might. So I was about to say queen, king d2, putting pressure on the knight. I like that. It forces, or at least it's attempting to force the force black to be a bit dubious with the moves, moving it around. But it's, I don't know. At least that's how I see it personally. I don't know if that's the correct way to look at it. Um, hmm.
Yeah, he's gonna have to figure something out because his knight's hanging, but yeah, white wants to take on h6 and then get his knight into the king side. So it's gonna be some problems for black to resolve here.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because black's king could also seems to be in a lot of trouble. Or it seems like it has the potential for some serious trouble. But for some reason, I don't know how seriously the eval bar should be taken here. I should probably just turn it off.
Oh yeah, I would turn it off
Yeah,
because it's not going to give you an accurate representation of what's happening.
yeah. I have found that to be true in my own games. Whenever I look at it, sort of oscillate back and forth, I'm just like, oh well, not many of us have the depth of skill to see 45 moves deep.
Yeah. For example, this last move, like black just played knight e5.
Yeah, and it just went.
And yeah, the engine might say like, oh, that's a blunder. And then someone just looking at this very superficially might just say like, oh, he blundered his knight. But no, he was thinking about this for a while and he was clearly very afraid of the queen coming into h6. So knight e5, he's like actually wanting white to take so he can take with the bishop and then maybe defend the g7 or the h6 pawn with bishop to g7, or maybe get some counterplay with the queen. It might not be a good move objectively, but the idea actually at least makes sense. Though I'm sure Seth is happy to get his piece back, and now he has some residual chances on the king side.
Yeah, I think that was it was a nice recovery. I kind of like I'm wondering what black's going to do with the queen next, because just very superficially the idea in my head was rook d1 seems pretty interesting. Rook h d1.
Yeah.
Uh,
Why wants to put one of these rooks here?
yeah. Though I think maybe since things are a little bit more open towards the h rook, that rook a d1 would be. It feels a little bit better because the a rook feels a smidge more isolated from the action.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like
And
rook e1,
yeah,
just so the king can then get to the queen side and kind of live on b1.
yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking. I'm surprised I had a coherent thought. uh, but yeah, I was thinking it just gives them a nice little hidey hole for the time being, offer some solid protection, and then you can maybe bring uh, rook h e1 and sort of just force your put some lasers down the middle of the board.
Hmm.
So queen d6. Oh, okay. Yeah. Uh, knight f5.
Knight f5. Yeah, White's getting his attack. Queen
Oh.
g6. Okay, time for Seth to show what
Oh
his
yeah. Oh,
tactics
the
are.
royal fork. The royal fork. Come on, buddy. You got this. The royal fork. Bring it
Big
home.
moment. Big moment. Boom.
Yes.
Well
Boom goes
done.
the dynamite. That's
Yeah,
gross. I love it.
well done. Okay, that's going to be GG. Let's jump to um, Banausos against ATBD. Just joined this one at a very interesting moment. Banausos just played h3 and looks like he was winning the knight with a pin. So well done, Banausos.
Nice. Yeah. Um, knight c4. I feel like knight c4 was, sort of at least hoping for a little bit of lack of bishop activity after he took on g4. But then he just snapped. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Uh,
Oh no, another queen blunder.
yeah, I was about to say. Ooh,
Unfortunate.
yeah. Oh.
Unfortunate. Okay, it happens, guys. It happens. Let's jump to Polly, 3141 against Map View. So Polly from Finland.
Hyvä Suomi.
Hmm?
That's good. Let's go Finland in Finnish. I speak a little bit of Finnish.
Oh, nice. You speak a lot of languages?
Mostly Japanese. I used to translate it for a living. But yeah, I have a good friend in Finland, and I started learning Finnish because of her.
Nice.
So, yeah, I speak a little bit, and I speak some outdated Russian, old Slavonic, because I'm Russian Orthodox.
Cool.
So I don't know any relevant stuff unless it's relevant to the Orthodox Church. Yeah. What about you? Do you speak anything besides English?
Just English and Russian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about picking up Russian here recently because I bought Rosetta Stone for Russian ages ago. Have you ever tried that? You like it?
Yeah, I used it a bit, though not too much. But it seemed like a good program.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't seem bad at all. It seems a little bit hard for flexible languages like Finnish. They don't even have it in Finnish because there's no word order in Finnish. It's not like subject, object, verb. It's just kind of like, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
That
I was
sounds like
talking,
chaos.
yeah, a little bit. And I was talking to my friend. She's native there, and she says, yeah, it can be a bit chaotic, but after a little while, you get the idea. But she said it really lends itself well creatively to poetry,
Huh.
things like that. something like that would have never occurred to me.
Yeah.
I would have just been cursing God if I got like, because my knowledge of Finnish is, very shallow. It's like kiddie pool shallow.
Right.
Uh, but if I got too deep, I feel like it would just be a real tussle. Yeah. What's Russian? Is it like subject, object, verb, or how's it work?
It's one of those things where, I grew up speaking Russian, so I have no
Oh,
conceptual understanding of it.
right. Yeah.
I can barely explain English.
Right. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. So it jives with your understanding of English. Um, so yeah. Is until I started studying languages, years and years ago in college, I wouldn't have been able to accept it. What? I think I actively tried not to pay attention to English in high school. So
hmm
I was like, math is where it's at, baby. So I definitely get you there.
Yeah, yeah, I can kind of tell if it sounds right or not, but
Yeah,
that's it. I can't
yeah,
really
it's a little
explain it.
bugging. So bishop d4.
Yeah, interesting move.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this game just feels a little bit like it's only a matter of time, uh, unless there's a serious blunder like. Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen. I was gonna say seriously big blunder like Book B6.
Yeah, Black should be winning this one,
Yeah.
but it's not easy because now White's king is very active, and Black just gave up the a pawn. I think Black's idea on the last move was he really wanted to go c5 check with the discovered attack with rook takes a7.
Right.
But he forgot that his a6 pawn is now hanging, so White just takes the pawn, avoids the discovered attack, and now White has like a really strong a pawn. So like 2 moves from now, it's gonna be White who's like playing for the win. Like if Black doesn't get really active very quickly here, because the bishop on d4, it's like anchored. It's actually a very strong piece. Like it's hard to say that it's worse than one of Black's rooks because it's attacking so many squares, and it's defended, so the rook can't really take it. And now it's just going to be supporting this a pawn. Yeah, that's running to a7. So I'm not really sure who's better anymore actually.
Yeah, it feels pretty even, and I feel like Bishop B4 was an excellent move.
Yeah, yeah, nice setup. Okay, now rook b8 check. White has to figure out where to move the king.
Yeah, what's the best square here? I have a hard time visualizing stuff like that in positions like this.
This one I don't know. I mean, you can go to the a file. The problem is when the rook comes for behind, then there's going to be a check on a1. So yeah.
I feel like I maybe would have liked King A3 a little bit better. I don't know. It might just be strictly worse. But now I feel like no. I was being foolish. I was misevaluating the position entirely. I did. It's I still have noob vision or whatever you want to call it, but I didn't see something. I think sometimes there are people in chess call it seeing ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is. Ooh. Yeah. That's. Huh.
Yeah, e7, rook a8. So now Black's h pawn is also saying some stuff. So he's gonna have to deal with this one.
Oh wow. Yeah.
King a6.
Now it's a little bit of a race.
Yeah, big race here. Now this is where both players need to like stop and calculate. But what usually happens is both players just play quickly until someone wins, and then the game's over. Like this is like really like a critical critical moment where I would say like both players need to be like spending like multiple minutes here and like using their time and really trying to figure it out, like what's going on. H3, King B7, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, surprising how much time they have. So, definitely take it all up. At least that's how I would. Um, but I'm a slow player in general. I probably would drive most of the dojo nuts.
No, good. I mean, the time is there to use it.
What's that one GM? He's a Russian GM that's famous for taking up like the majority of his time in the first, several moves.
Grischuk.
Yeah, Grischuk, tricky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, hey, it's worked for him, right?
Yeah,
um,
definitely had worked for him. So it's hard to argue with his success.
right. Yeah. That's one thing that I absolutely adore about chess is, at a certain level, uh, you just respect it, right? And it's just like, oh, well, he takes a lot of time. I'm just like, well, did you know he's rated 2,700, one of the top players in the world? I did not. Never mind. I understand.
Right.
For even though Fischer was kind of a horrible person, uh, he was amazing on the chessboard, and that brought him a lot of respect because the Russians were just like, oh, these Americans, blah blah blah. But then he just, you know, cleaned house, so to speak, and they're just like, oh, we kind of respect that. Yeah, it's one thing I love about chess. It's like, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the best things about the game is that like, you can pontificate and say all the things you want and like discuss strategy and structure and all this stuff, but like ultimately it just comes down to what happens on the chessboard.
Yeah.
And there's no luck involved. So it's all up to the player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things that appealed to me about chess strongly over any other game. Really, is just and it's one thing drove me nuts about Hearthstone was just the sheer amount of luck involved. Uh, I played it professionally for a little bit, and it was, I would say roughly 90-95% luck because of the random generation games like that. But then it was 5% skill. But that 5% skill was hugely important. It made the difference between, a diamond ranked player and a legendary ranked player.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in other games, wow, chess.com is asking me if I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here. It's just a long game, guys. So what? Yeah, bishop e5. Okay.
Yeah, probably a good move. So black has just pushed h3 and white stops the pawn from getting to h2 and then he wants like king b7 here.
Uh, yeah, so I'm thinking for half a second, I thought, oh, well, yeah, we can attack uh, the pawn on c7, but I don't know because he takes back, take the rook, then his pawn push. Would he be able to get to the pawn in time before it queens? Oh well, this is the most interesting in game, at least for me personally, that I think we've seen so far.
Yeah, really interesting end game here.
Because I especially for me, just looking at it a little bit blind here, since I've studied in game so little, and I know it's just like shame on you. Uh, but I even have trouble remembering like the rule of square or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just watching this one play out. But we'll come back to this one. There's a request to check out the board one game. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, I covered this line on YouTube.
Oh, you did? Was it
Yeah,
on your main channel or on the dojo?
on I think it was on Dojo's channel. And yeah, this line can get super, super sharp.
And this is the Tao's Tactician checkmate game,
Yeah,
game two.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably white needed to go rook c1 here to deal with this threat of a3 and then knight takes b3. Need some prophylactic moves here as white, like rook c1, and then you might be ready for takes and queen h2. But it's really tough for, I mean, these positions are, yeah, very sharp. But once black gets their counterplay, then they're usually all right. Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna jump back. Wow, looks like Paulie managed to win it.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So at rook e7, he took on c7 and traded into this rook versus bishop endgame. The problem is the bishop is covering everything, and black's rook is forced to give up on a7. And now, yeah, white's bishop just defends the pawn, and white wins with the c-pawn. So very well played by Paulie.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah. Well, congrats to Team Europe. I mean, they definitely win the match. It's 15-6, and then this last game I think is going to be going for in Team Europe's way as well. It's probably going to be 16-6 final score. Big blowout. And that's it. There's the resignation. So well done, everyone. GG's. GG's.
Yeah, and thank you all for allowing me to enjoy this game with you. Thank you, Kostya, for having me. Spasiba. And
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun, and I feel like I learned a little bit in terms of game analysis, and I appreciate you all being. I love the dojo for this reason. It's very welcoming to amateurs and scrubs like me, looking at these games and throwing out my ideas and things like that. So I really appreciate you all a lot. You guys are some of the best. I even weeks ago at this cafe outside or whatever, I recommended this random lady that had some interest in chess because I was studying positions or whatever. I said, "Yeah, come to the dojo. It's a great place. It welcomes all skill levels." So I appreciate you all allowing me to be here. It wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thanks a ton. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Much appreciated. Thanks for joining me. I'm happy I'm happy that you're spreading the word, the gospel about the dojo.
Gospel.
And yeah, thanks for being part of the community. People might not know that you stream for us occasionally, which we very much appreciate. So yeah, GG's all around. Great job, everyone who played. Congrats to Team Europe. I don't know why it says 3-0. I don't see that on my end. I just see the individual results, but looks like those were all counted properly. But yeah, thanks very much for joining me. I'm gonna be signing the stream off for now, but I think Jesse's actually gonna be on in about 15 minutes, and then we got Dojo Scrubs coming back up at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So Jesse will be on in about 15, then Dojo Scrubs 3 p.m. Pacific time. So lots more streams coming up. We'll probably do another one of these matches again, so that should be fun. Hopefully you guys will play a second time. What do we have? 11 boards today? Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I want these teams to grow. I want there to be like huge matches.
Yeah, Hoki and I were talking about making some propaganda for the countries.
Hmm.
If I can squirrel away some time this week, and I was thinking about because we discussed the idea of just sort of driving more interests and making some silly propaganda posters.
Hmm.
So hopefully, there's time for that this week.
Get some interest going. Yeah, because these teams, guys, these are teams that exist in the dojo that you can sign up for. All you have to do is go to the Discord, go to the role request channel, and you can request to join one of the teams. Sorry, not role requests, just roles. Hashtag roles. And then you can see all the different teams we have available there. We got Team US, Team Europe, Team Asia, Africa, Latin America, Canada, UK. You can join any team you want. And eventually, hopefully, we'll have more specific matches once again, like we did for a few weeks, like Team US versus Team Europe and this kind of thing. So yeah, make sure to join your team if you are interested in playing more of these matches in the future. I hope they become like a regular weekly thing because I think it's fun and it's kind of like it's like those European leagues that they do, like the Bundesliga and stuff like that, where they just play like weekly matches, and usually they're a lot of fun for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it could be sort of a dojo specialty because I see some matches and things like that on other chess streams, but I think this could have some really good potential for growth in terms of attracting new players and welcoming people to the dojo and growth with the dojo.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it. I'm gonna go on break, and then Jesse will be on in about I think 10 or 12 minutes or so. Pravid, it's what is it, like 4 a.m. there in Norway? What time is it?
Well, let's see.
Sorry, it's just very dark.
Yeah, my light bulb went out. Yeah, it went out because it should be on, and I think it randomly decided to just like, oh, I'm just gonna quit in the middle of the stream. So yeah. We'll just say that I'm on Norway time.
Yeah. Although it's oh wait, it's summer there.
Yeah.
So maybe there are places where it's like nighttime, like 24/7. But anyway, we're gonna get you a new light. Uh,
Yeah, I
we
was
can
tempted
see
to
you.
use my cell phone light, right?
That would work.
Yeah. Donate to Pray, but he needs light bulbs.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you all soon. Take care.
Later, guys.